Okay, I'm going to start the meeting by reading a few things so that we are on the up and up. Um, Members of the public wishing to participate in the meeting must use their full name for Zoom access. If the full names are not used, people will not be allowed to participate in the discussion. The town reserves a right to remove any member of the public from the meeting who doesn't use a full name or acts inappropriately. As a preliminary matter, this is David Sharp, Visitor Services Coordinator. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Matt Peel.
Here.
Mary Malaves.
Here.
Liz Holland.
Here.
Sarah Boyce.
Here.
Peter Morrison.
Here.
And staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Chantal Blois.
Here.
And anticipated speakers on the, actually only David Sharp on here as well. Anticipated speakers on the agenda, please respond in the affirmative. Sheila Lucy.
I'm here.
Okay. All right, good morning. This open meeting of the Visitor Services Advisory Committee is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless each participant is required by law. This meeting guest features public comment. For this meeting of the Visitor Services Advisory Committee, it's convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted by the town's website, identifying how the public may join. And then please note that this meeting is being recorded and all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and take care not to, quote, screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. For meeting materials, all supporting materials that have been provided, members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Meeting business rules and meeting business ground rules. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. And for items of public comment, after members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public who have joined the meeting via Zoom. And members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Okay, so that's it for me for now. Madam Chairwoman, yield the floor to you.
All right. Thank you, David, for reading all of the rules. I'd like to welcome everyone and Sheila. First item of business is the approval of the January 10th minutes. Everyone has received them in their packet. Is there any changes to the minutes from the members? All right. Liz?
I just wanted to make one small correction. Is not the emergency communications plan thing is not COC, but VOC with a V, not a C. That's all.
Okay,
Okay, it's not CEOICE.
Right. It begins with a V, as in
Okay.
V is in Victor.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, all right. I see that on the second page in the minutes. All right.
Thank you.
Can I have a motion to accept the minutes with the change?
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second,
Thank you. All right, we will do a roll call on this to accept these for the record. Matt Peel,
Aye.
Liz Holland,
aye.
Sarah Boyce.
Should I abstain because I wasn't there or just,
You could abstain. We have a quorum. That's fine.
okay, I abstain then.
All right, Peter Morrison.
Aye.
All right, and I, Chair Mary Malavis, accept. All right, motion has been approved and accepted. All right, moving right along. Next item, Sheila Lucy. I approached Sheila about coming to our meeting to educate us because I didn't know a lot of the facts. I keep going back to the visitor services mission is to, assist visitors when they arrive on the island and help them with any, sort of questions. And it occurred to me that the town pier has a huge number of visitors that enter through that portal. And I don't think any of us are aware of it until I had a brief conversation with Sheila. And not to mention how many lifeguards Sheila interacts with every day that are on the beaches. So I asked Sheila to come and sort of tell us about what goes on down at the town pier that I personally have not seen, and educate us and see how we as a committee might be able to assist her and her staff to answer some of the questions that I'm sure they get. So Sheila, thank you so much for being here. I yield the floor to you.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for having me. So yeah, we'll just start out by telling you what happens at the town pier. Starting in the end of May, going through till Labor Day, we get 3 to 5 cruise ships per week. And that's where they offload with a couple hundred people each cruise ship. So they come Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays when they come. And like I said, sometimes we have 2 in port, sometimes we only have 1, but we get hundreds of people from there just on the cruise ships alone. We also have 12 commercial businesses that operate out of there. Some of them charter businesses. A lot of them are, passengers for hire. So we get a lot of people that way. We get Blair Perkins Whale Watch Boat. We get just all kinds of people coming in and out. It's also a place where the sailboats and everybody comes in to get water. We also have the Headhunter on the water that services the anchorage, which hosts usually about 150 boats. And then we have 125 rental moorings. So we have the only dinghy dock in town. So that happens at the town pier. So all of those dinghies and the people from those boats, they come in and they're in our office. They use our restrooms, and that this is where they pick up cabs, Ubers, whatever it is that they pick up. And what else? It's the town pier is a busy place. When we were looking at trying to rebuild the building, they put a counter in the doorway of the restrooms, and they had well over 1,000 people a day coming in and out of there. So it's a hot spot, and if there's a way that we can help you guys out any way we can, we'd be happy to. The other thing to remember is last year, just on the lifeguarded beaches, we guarded over 250,000 people just on our 10 guarded beaches. Plus we have ATVs that are, mobile on the beaches, so we're pretty much everywhere on the island with a lifeguard and stuff. So we do get tons of questions. So like I said, anytime you guys wanted to come, the lifeguard comes at Surfside Beach every morning. If you had a message you wanted us to get out, we could, you could come to our muster in the morning and we could get it out that way or whatever. There's somebody in our office at the town pier starting the middle of June, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So we always have somebody live in there to answer questions. And yeah, it's a pretty busy place. We touch a lot of people, I'd say, between dock staff. The dock staff also, we have the headhunter goes out and that visits every single boat in the anchorage in the mooring fields. They could also pass information out for you guys or whatever we can do to help.
I don't think I realized how many thousands of people go in and out of those restrooms. I mean, we always think of town pier as where a lot of yeah, David does.
Yeah, we get 1,000 in both restrooms in July. and August.
Yes, exactly. I would expect that in town, but anyway, Shanta, is there a question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question for Sheila through you, please. Sheila, do you have any way of tracking the amount of people you interact with in a summer down there?
Well, the lifeguards at the end of the day, we do public interaction, and I do have that number. I just don't have it on me. That's just with the lifeguards. I don't do anything at the town pier. Because usually it's kind of fast paced and busy, and it's different people getting asked different questions, like the dock staff that's out on the dock handling their lines or helping them that way. A lot of them get bombarded with a lot of questions, and the people that have big questions, the younger kids especially, will send them to the office. But they might see me out front, they might see one of the assistants out front, they might go in and see Christy. So I haven't been as good about documenting that as we do with the lifeguards. The lifeguards, we have a section on their daily report that says public interaction.
And it's just a follow-up question. Would you benefit from having those numbers?
I don't know. I always use the numbers on the beaches to just to let people know what we are doing and that the program is very busy and working. So, I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but when I'm asking for money, I don't want people to say that we're not worth it.
All right.
Okay.
Peter, question?
Question to Sheila through the chair. Is there some subset of questions that are thrown at you by a very large number of people for which a handout that we might have available would make sense? I'm trying to get a sense of what is it that we've got that could be connected with this subgroup of people who need to connect with it.
And we get asked everything from, where's what's open, what restaurants are open, how do you get to different places, where are different places, all that stuff. We do refer a lot of people to you guys, but we get asked everything. You name it. They ask, like, can we call them an Uber? Can we call them a cab? Where's us?
Concierge services.
Yeah, I know. David?
Yeah, Sheila, would you be willing to have some sort of signage down there, like a QR code or something that tells people how to go find us or look for us? And would you also want printed material down there, such as travel lodging brochure, shuttle schedules, restaurant lists, things like that?
Yeah, we can definitely do that. We can put that in our front office.
Sure.
Because what we go through a ton of is maps.
Mm-hmm.
We go through tons and tons and tons of maps, especially when it's the cruise ship people, because they usually come in, they start out by taking bus tour, I guess. And then they land back at the office and ask us what else is there for them to do.
Thank you.
It just sounds like we probably have a whole bunch of stuff that you could use, and maybe just by showing you a copy of 50 things that we have, you could say there are 5 of them that I need 200 of.
Yeah, definitely. We'd be happy to do that.
Yeah.
It would make it easier, and I wouldn't have to be so nervous about how some of the kids are answering the questions.
We could, if we could stop by like at least once a week and drop off stuff and reload for you.
Yeah, that would be amazing. We have a spot out front that we fill with pretty much nonsense, so that would be great.
Yeah, and maybe it's the case of our QR code being put on, a business card or something.
Mhm.
That wouldn't be expensive to reproduce, but would just be a simple little handout. It also seems to me that we should be getting to the cruise ships before they offload passengers, but that's a whole nother issue. Sarah?
Yeah, thank you. Sheila, is there a bulletin board outside so that when the office isn't open, I know people come and go from the town pier late sometimes, so that we could put those QR codes somewhere outside?
Yeah, we can probably get something to mount out there. Because the bulletin board that we have is no good. But yeah, I could probably get something that we could put it out there for sure. Because like you said, there are people that come and go after 7.
All right, Niles?
Mary, you just made a comment and it's got me wondering, I wonder, who we can reach out to at the cruise lines to engage in a conversation well in advance, so we can do a little training on that end first, so they can help.
Yeah,
prep.
yeah.
I have contact info.
Yeah.
They send me a email every week about what ships are coming, how many people are on them, and all that. So I can get you guys that contact if you want.
Great.
Yeah,
Great.
thanks, Sheila.
Yeah.
Peter?
This is actually to Niles through the chair. Niles, I'm intrigued by the fact that, and it sounds perfectly plausible, that so many people on cruise ships get off and say, what should I do next? I'm thinking of, this is a real hidden opportunity for some people like you. Just leave a whole bunch of stack. The first thing you want to do is you want to go to that whaling museum.
I was just making a note of that, Peter. Funny
Yes.
you say that, yeah.
Right.
I just know in a previous career of mine, when some of the smaller cruise ships used to dock, on not town piers or out on a hook, but we always would reach out to the cruise ships to find out what they wanted to do. Usually it was for activities and lunch and shopping. But no, I think that makes sense that we should go to the source too. All right, any other questions for Sheila? I have a question. What's the status on a new building for you? It was, passed and then COVID and then budgets and rebidding, and are you ever going to see one?
I pray. We need one so bad. I don't even know, I go in the bathrooms and look in there every day trying to figure out how I'm gonna cover it up again. But yeah, I know that we had a thing for people to come and look at it, and only one guy showed up, and I don't know. But
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, I think we're still moving forward with it. We need it desperately, and any help you guys could give us that way would be huge, because it's the first place that anybody comes by boat. It's the first impression of Nantucket. And, you pull into these other places and aren't nearly as awesome as Nantucket, and their stuff is way, way nicer than ours. And, we should be putting our best foot forward that way. So, we need
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And, the bathrooms, and that's, just the thousands of people that come by here, and then the place is dilapidated, no matter how hard we try to keep it painted and clean.
Yeah. Sarah?
Yeah, thank you, Mary. Full disclosure, I'm a co-owner of a charter fishing business on the town pier, but to Sheila's point, we did go to Harwichport, and I was shocked when we went into the dock system there and how like it was its own welcome center in a way, with a really huge building. And they did have like next to the town pier, not that we have room for it, but a visitor, they're like they had a little visitor services booth similar to what they might have at the Highline area. So just seeing what's possible is exciting. And so Sheila, if there's any specific meetings or ways that we can also help spread the word, like you said, if we can help, I'm personally interested in that too.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the reasons why after my conversation with Sheila about the number of people, it seems like we should be helping another town department too. To make it, more informational for our visitors. That's our mission. As you know, I'm big on missions. Any other questions for Sheila? I know she has a busy day. Sheila, we don't expect you to stay on for the rest of our meeting, but I appreciate you coming in the morning, and don't worry, I think some of us will be taking a walk down to look at your town pier that doesn't normally hang down there, because it is our first gateway, and I think we need to work on it.
Awesome, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Shanta had to go to a dental appointment, so she is asking if she can table her report till next month.
Yes, absolutely. I saw her chat that she had to leave.
Yeah, she meant to start at the beginning, but we forgot, so.
That's
Anyway.
fine. We'll move on. Okay. Let's see. David, looks like you're next.
Yes. I put into the packet this week the January stats. A very shall I say, encouraged by what we have. Even in the dead of January, we still get a lot of people coming by, and it looks like it's more than last year, and well, much more than the year before, obviously, because with COVID. Phone calls are steady. People are looking for rooms, and we only mailed one brochure, but that was the 22 brochure, because the 2023 should be coming out at the end of the month, and I've already got at least 50 or 60 requests that I've saved for, so that when it comes out, we're going to mail those right away. And I also included the picture, if I can get this of the cover that we chose. It's the links off of Brant Point, and so I'm looking forward to seeing that at the end of the month. And as I said, we'll be mailing those out, and it will be also available to download on the website once that's available. And one thing that you may not be aware of, when you download this brochure, it does have interactive links that you can use on your phone or tablet or computer. And if you're on a cell phone, the phone number is also linked so you can immediately dial. So the other thing I wanted to mention is that I was going to report back to you about the downloads from the website, such as the restaurant list and so forth. About a year and a half ago, they changed the system from something where I can easily find how many downloads there were of PDFs that we have on our website. And I'm not sure if the committee has visited our website, but we do have a lot of interesting stuff on there. But apparently what the town IT department is planning to do is they're going to switch over to an HTML style connection for every link that we have on the website. So it's going to take a few more months for that to go live. But at that point, I can start tracking through Google Analytics as to what's going on, and hopefully we can continue knowing how many people are going to eat and how many people want to stay and so forth. And it's something that I find is desperately missing in terms of trying to figure out, particularly during the pandemic when we had 10,000 people downloading the restaurant list a month. So, and there's other good stuff on there. So just be patient and we'll have that up for you hopefully in a couple months. So but that's all I have at this point.
Perfect. Thank you, David. All right, in our packet, next item on the agenda, we received a draft of, what's the official title here? Quality of life email to association presidents from Peter. It was a one-page attachment, and I think Peter would like us to be aware of what they're trying to do through the civic leagues and the associations. Go ahead, Peter. Thank you.
Okay. As some of you know, I'm a co-president of the Nantucket Civic League, and we have 25 official Civic League neighborhood associations, some of which are very active, some of which are less active. But two of our neighborhood associations, the first one followed by another one, have prepared what we're referring to and encouraging as a quality of life statement, or just a kind of a public statement about, if you come and live in our neighborhood, you're renting long-term for the summer or you're visiting, these are some of the things that we, expect of our neighbors and of each other. So it's kind of a nice statement, which we encourage, and we say, great, get that out to your folks. And it occurred to Charlie Stott and myself that it might be a good idea for us to make these kinds of statements available on a link where people could access them directly if they were, let's say, planning on a month-long rental in Shimo or something like that. And they'd say, well, haven't been there before. This is kind of what the folks are like. This is their expectations. And so it's a very simple pitch from Charlie and myself, which is we would like to establish a very passive kind of presence on the website. It could be a single link to the Nantucket Civic League's neighborhood association statements of, quality of life statements, or some fancy, some term that suggests that if you're going there, you might want to read this. And we're trying to roll this out in neighborhood associations that, decide that they want to prepare such statements. And I don't think it's going to be anywhere near all 25, but we might get 5 or 10 over the next few years. So the simple ask is, would you all be willing to accommodate us? My own thinking is not by having 25 links in the future, but just having one link and say, here's where you go if you want to find out what the expectations are in this neighborhood. And we would then tell our neighborhood associations to tell your visitors or your tenants, and also communicate with the realtors that if they're booking a rental in a neighborhood with the kind of people that we like to come to Nantucket, that they really ought to read the thing here, the link that they have for that association. So it would be very passive from your standpoint, just one more slot on a very busy site. So I'd like to know if that's something you would be staunchly opposed to, or you think that probably we could work it out as long as we didn't make it any kind of a pain for David or anybody else.
Yeah, okay. David, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was going to say, I can talk with Chantal. We can and look it over, and if possible, I can put a link to the Civic League page on there that would, be a splash page to go to these to the statements. If that way it's, or we can find some way without having to muddle up the our page, but. It's something we can look into and see what we can come up with, and then we'll let you know.
Okay, that's great. There's no rush. This is going to be rolled out, and it's going to be another 6 months at least before we probably get another 1 or 2. So, and what I'm thinking of is we're not asking you to advertise at all. We just want to say, if you search on the Visitor Services website at this place, you'll see a link to the Civic League. That's where you want to go, and here's why. And you just put it up there as a, from your standpoint, you don't have to advertise it at all unless somebody asks.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. All
That'd
right,
be great.
Sarah,
Very easy to do.
Sarah, do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm actually a little concerned about this, without having actually seen what the quality of life guidelines are, because I think, we have to be, I know this is something that Civic League is doing and that the individual associations are voting on for their association. But without seeing them, I think we should be cautious about putting them on the website, because then it's like we're approving this, because sometimes those things can wax really elitist and, I have to be careful of my wording, but for example, I don't know if you guys remember a few weeks ago or a few months ago, when there was a letter about our certain neighborhood that was demeaning of someone who didn't have the right plantings in their yard, and there was a very big backlash about it in the community. And I don't know what's in these, the quality of life guides, but I think that we just have to be careful about it. So I don't know if we're going to have a link to that, if we should read them all ahead of time, and if it's something that we're comfortable with, or if it's, I know there's general guidelines, of course, of where you can and can't park, and the quiet hours and all those kinds of things. But I guess I'm curious what's in the quality of life, because the 1-page document didn't say what's in them.
No.
It just was a general description. So that's just my kind of concern about just, check marking this and putting it on the website right away, just so we can
Sure.
think about it a little bit.
Thanks, Sarah. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, if I can just answer what you're talking about, the quality of life is a poorly chosen term at this point, and we're kind of at the embryonic stage. But I can assure you that there would be several stages of quality assurance. The first being the Civic League, and I think you brought up a good point, because we may not perceive something that would prove very slightly not offensive, but not appropriate. And so I would propose that I revise the request to say that this that we would establish this procedure, but we would subject each submission to, first of all, an official review, a formal review by our executive committee, and then that its presence on the site would be subject to approval by Visitor Services. So we would get a double level of approval. I mean, I see what you mean. I think the area of concern is not in the obvious poor taste things, but in the subtle elitism that might come across in a way that even we wouldn't understand. And we can certainly tell our neighborhood associations that, we can look at them and say, we're not going to be able to put this on the website if you keep including this sentence, but if you want to keep it, go ahead, but it's not going to be publicized. And I know that our board would be not only comfortable with a 2-stage process, but they probably would welcome it.
Yeah, I think personally, from my standpoint on this, is we need a lot more information.
Sure.
This was a first, pass that the Civic League's looking into this for, I don't know, obviously reasons, because they think they need to inform the public. But I think, this is the beginning, as you said, Peter, in the next 6 months or whatever. We need to know exactly what the language is going to be.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I think this would not be, we're not going to turn the switch on to say we're ready to do this until we have at least 1 or 2 more. We have 2 in the works, and this is going to be a very gradual rollout because our associations are slow. So I'll come back to you in 6 months and say, here are 4 examples or 3 examples, and we're ready to go anytime you are.
Yeah. Does anyone remember the brochure that David did a few years ago on etiquette?
Yeah, the Nantucket, it's still available if you,
I don't know if any of you have ever seen that.
It was more of a tongue-in-cheek thing.
Yes, it was, It was sort of the opposite of, I think, what Peter's trying to
Yeah.
do, but it was amusing, put it that way. It raised some discussion.
We've revised it since, but it was kind of tongue in cheek. And then I think the guy who used to live out at the end of Brant Point came in one day and was not happy about seeing it. So he gave us his 2 cents worth.
Yeah, and this may happen with, anything like, that we haven't seen. So it's
Unintended
one-
consequences.
Yeah, one person's opinion too, so. All right, anything else for Peter at this point? I would suggest that you just, feed us information as it comes along, and we'll figure out if it fits on the Visitor Services website under the town umbrella. And, I'm assuming you're probably going to bring it to the chamber as well.
Oh, we
So,
certainly would. Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much. We'll get back to you on it, and we'll proceed with, we'll show you a few examples.
Okay,
Thank you, Peter.
thanks,
Thank you.
Peter. All right, anything else on new business? Old business? The one thing that I noticed in the minutes under old business is we were going to invite Noah
Yeah.
from the airport, and I think, as winter is trudging along here and it's going to be March before we know it, that we may want to figure out his schedule.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll contact Noah and see if he's available for next month's meeting if possible.
Okay,
I know he's got a lot on his plate now, so.
yeah, okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Okay, I think this was an important discussion today to have with Sheila. When I was chatting with her, in the past, and she was talking about cruise ships, and I said, how many? And she told me how many, and I'm going, I had no idea of the traffic down there in that little area. So feel free to pop down and see it. The building is in disrepair, that's for sure. Peter, go ahead.
Can I just ask one question? I'm trying to get myself situated. When I'm sitting, let's say I'm about to walk down to where the the High Line is on the pedestrian thing where you get disembarked from a taxi. Are we talking about the other pier on my right? Or
No,
where-
we're over by the town lot.
Yeah.
Way down there,
way down there. Oh, you mean way down toward the High Line?
Washington Street.
No,
Okay.
on Washington Street.
Oh, on Washington. Okay.
Yeah.
get you. All right.
Yeah, that the building there, and then they moved the house to the right, so there's a little park
Okay.
there that's land bank
Okay. Yeah. I
where
get
people
you.
could sit. Would be a great spot for information.
Of course.
Um,
I've never walked there.
Yeah, see, and that's just it. I don't think a lot of us, unless we, like Sarah, have a reason to be down on that dock.
Sure.
Go down and see, and I just wasn't aware of we knew the cruise ships were coming in, but I just thought
Yeah.
they offloaded at the boat basin.
I didn't know we had cruise ships.
Oh,
Just so you know,
yes,
They've been renovating the at the front of the pier. They've extended it and reinforced the bulkhead there.
Oh, yeah. I know where that is.
So there's a huge crane out there, or was.
yeah,
Well, I'll just reiterate, all I can say is boats coming in every day with 250 people, most of whom are saying, what do I do now? Strikes me as an enormous economic opportunity. And we ought to have somebody there who's paying to be present to hand out their brochures.
well, plus I think it's an opportunity occasionally to go to Sheila's morning meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, she has morning meetings every day with all the lifeguards. And, and if it's something to have a business card thrown in their backpack or whatever, I mean, they're the ones that people ask questions of. 250,000. Yes, Sarah?
Yeah, I was just gonna say too, so just to David's point about the construction, probably wait till May or June to go down to see the
Yeah.
activity. But sorry, I was gonna make another point and then I just totally forgot it, so never mind.
Yeah. But I think that's why there was some movement to get that building, to either be replaced, because it just doesn't fit the needs of the visitors now. It was one thing when it was a town pier and people had a lottery and put their boats there as an option, to the boat basin for town residents. But now it's turned into something totally different over time. So I was very happy, and we're a town department helping another. Yes, Matt?
I should have asked her, it just popped in my mind, but I wonder, did she ever get sustainable housing for the lifeguards through them? Or I'm really hoping that the either town or the land bank steps up and buys the old hostel, because I know they've used that in the past for housing for the lifeguards.
Yeah, I think she's been using some things out at the end of Orkawad down in Surfside, and then out at the Old Navy base out by the Loran station. I think there's some housing out there. But if we need more lifeguards, there won't be housing. So, Liz?
If anybody's been down there lately, it is incredibly dilapidated. So I'm really hoping that we can, try to, mush whoever we need to along to kind of move on that. But the funny thing I wanted to tell you is that we actually have people that come off the High Line and come into our office and say, so what is there to do?
Yeah.
Where should we go?
Go across, talk to Jane.
Yeah, I know.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
we do a lot of direction as well, and obviously direct people to, the Whaling Museum and Visitor Center and that kind of thing. But it is astounding in this day and age how many people do not do any research or anything regarding
I know.
coming to the island. So anyway, I just wanted to add that, give a little reality.
I know. Thanks, Liz. Sarah?
Yeah, I remembered what I was gonna say, thinking about the cruise ships. If you've ever been on a cruise too, a lot of times when they go to port, they have like the activities designed. And so I think it would be great, like, getting the contact information, like you were asking Mary about from those cruise ships, because they might be, they have like their routine places. They probably already go to the Whaling Museum, but and they probably are asking, what was the number one question, David? Where's the brewery shuttle or something like that?
Yeah, no,
I don't think that most of these people, I don't think are the brewery type.
Yeah, because they're the small cruise ships too, right? As
Yeah.
I've seen them when we've taken the boat out there outside the harbor. So yeah, anyway, just to like preemptively get that information to them to see, if they're, especially now when they're organizing those trips, it might be kind of worthwhile.
Oh, yeah, I mean, in my hospitality days and still currently, I've always been proactive, not reactive. So you need to, seek out the source and help them. You're doing nothing but helping the business, because that will make their clientele feel special. So it's a win-win for everybody. All right. Anything else? I think it was a good discussion today. It was eye-opening for some of us to realize what goes on down there. The next meeting would be March 14th.
Yep.
Liz, do you have a question?
Yeah, for some reason, my computer's not working so well with Zoom today, but I just wanted to add that Nantucket Island Tours might be one of the companies that takes them on tours.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we
I'm-
might be able to go through that avenue as well to, hand out any kind of literature or pamphlet or QR code. You know what I'm saying? Is that
Yeah.
might be something that they could just hand out on the bus.
Yeah, I can reach out to Rick Peterson. We do talk to him like every day or so about what tour availability is happening, but I'll make sure to put that seed in his brain to, think about that a little bit more.
Sure, and if I talk to him every once in a while, even before the season start, and we kind of make a plan, I'll be happy to mention it to him as well, so.
Thank you, Liz. All right, next meeting would be the same day as this meeting. It's amazing how the calendar in February and March are the same. So Tuesday would be the 14th. I should be back on island Monday night and assuming travel plans don't get awry, but I think I would prefer to do the March meeting in Zoom. Just in case people
Yeah.
are away.
Yeah, the point of the trailer out at the old fire station is to have meetings there. But, I think we'll bring this up at the next meeting, whether or not to meet at the trailer. But I think everybody here is comfortable with Zoom at this hour of day.
Yes, yeah.
I'll just put that back on the agenda for next time.
Okay, thank you, David. All right, anything else? All right, I thank you all. Enjoyed this beautiful day.
Thank you.
It's been the winter that only gave us one really cold weekend so far.
Right.
But February is not over. All right, thank you all. I look forward to seeing you next month, if not sooner.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everybody.